Supported by opposition, the Congress of Deputies is the lower house of the Cortes Generales, Spain's legislative branch. The Congress meets in the Palace of the Parliament in Madrid. It has 350 members elected by constituencies by closed-list proportional representation using the D'Hondt method. Deputies serve 4-year terms. The presiding officer is the President of the Congress of Deputies, who is elected by the members thereof. It is the analog to a speaker. In the Congress, MPs from the political parties, or groups of parties, form parliamentary groups. Groups must be formed by at least 15 deputies. But a group can also be formed with only 5 deputies if the parties got at least 5% of the nationwide vote, or 15% of the votes in the constituencies in which they ran. The deputies belonging to parties who cannot create their own parliamentary group form the mixed group. After the 2019 general election in April, the number of female deputies was up to 168, representing 48% of all members, making Spain the European country with the highest percentage of women in parliament, surpassing Sweden and Finland. Section 68.1 of the Spanish Constitution establishes that the Congress of Deputies must be composed of among 300 deputies at least and 400 deputies at most. At present, the House has 350 deputies, which is determined by the General Electoral Regime Organic Act, which was approved in 1985. The Spanish Constitution establishes that the deputies are chosen by universal, free, equal, direct and secret suffrage. The election is held every 4 years or before in case of snap election. The members of the Congress are elected by proportional representation with closed lists in each constituency. There are 50 multi-member constituencies for the Congress of Deputies, which belong to the 50 provinces of Spain, and the 2 single-member constituencies which belong to 2 autonomous cities. According to the Spanish Electoral Act, each province shall be represented by at least 2 deputies. Thus 102 deputies already apportioned. The remaining 248 deputies are allocated proportionally by constituency. This distribution can change in each election, and it is specified when writs of election are issued. After the general election, seats are assigned to the electoral lists in each constituency using the D'Hondt method. In each constituency separately, parties receive seats in approximate proportion to the number of votes each received in the constituency. A strictly proportional system would result in fractional seats. The D'Hondt method resolves this by favoring parties receiving larger votes. The 1985 General Electoral Regime Act establishes a 3% minimum valid votes by constituency requirement for a party to participate in the seat distribution for a constituency. This applies to the provinces that elect at least 24 deputies. At present, this condition applies only to Madrid and Barcelona. In March 2011, the General Electoral Regime Organic Act was remodeled, requiring parties that are not represented either in Congress or in the Senate to collect signatures to support their candidacy to be able to run in the election. 0.1% of those registered to vote in a constituency are required to be on the ballot, and each citizen can sign only once for a party candidacy. The Electoral Board establishes the regulations for collection of signatures. With this system, The least populated provinces are overrepresented as the population is lower than other provinces, which are still awarded one seat, than if the seats would be strictly distributed in proportion to the population of each province. Likewise, the most populated provinces are underrepresented. This system tends to favor the biggest political parties. Despite using a proportional representation system, the electoral system of the Congress of Deputies favors the creation of a two-party system. It is due to different reasons such as the deputies' term of office finishes 4 years after their election or when the Cortes are dissolved, which can take place jointly or separately with the dissolution of the Senate. The dissolution's right belongs to the monarch who exercises it by request of the President of the government after the deliberation of the Council of Ministers and under its sole responsibility. The dissolution of the Cortes also takes place if there is a failed legislature or 2 months after a failed investiture session. In this case, the sovereign dissolves the House with the countersign of the President of the Congress of Deputies. During their mandate, the deputies have some guarantees and privileges to carry their responsibilities out according to Section 97 of the Spanish Constitution, exercising the autonomy recognized by the Constitution to the Congress of Deputies. The House is regulated by some internal rules established by itself in 1982 and it configures different government bodies to carry the pertinent competencies out. The governing BO